on energy. I need more time.
No mechanics. So there's a couple of tricks to it. Mostly it's luck there at the end. I was supposed to stagger her right here when she comes back to the middle, and I messed it up. But the key components, like you'll see builds with way more attack power, way more dex, you know, just overall stats are way better. We sacrifice a ton. You might have to pop a potion or two, but we sacrifice a ton of defense here. There's two insanely important keys to this that I think you can play around with everything else, but the two most important things: Fist of Fate, get a high roll, you know, go run dungeons till you get it. Get a high roll on that lucky hit chance on those. The chance to daze, chance to immobilize, and the primary resource restore are really important. The actual high roll on the major stat there, or the unique whatever, that's not as important, but it still helps a lot if you can get a higher roll. The second most important thing is Ashira's Conjar. This gives you insane attack speed, and when you pair it with the heated assault elixir, I mean, you saw how fast I was attacking. You can't even get her to half when you don't have that. But when this stacks up fully, I mean, and it gives you lucky hit chance. Lucky for me, I got one that maxed out the lucky hit chance roll at 16.5. Damage to crowd control. That one's really important too. But obviously I low rolled that one. And she'll always be crowd controlled because we have a couple things going for us. One, we're dazing with this. We got Penitent Greaves that chills, which counts as crowd control. We get the crowd control duration bonus. And with that, I mineraled. Like, I don't have insane gear here, but you get that damage bonus to them, and then you get increased time while she's down. Ideally, you probably want corruption on your crossbow. For this specifically, I run this one. I have a better one that I haven't put anything on yet, but for this one specifically, you run damage to poisoned enemies, because if you're lucky and you time it right, you get your poison up all the time. And then you try to get just high rolls on crit strike damage, vuln damage. I went with Dex because I have my Paragon. I'll show them. Again, this isn't a max roll and it's pretty close, but you know, and then corruption for your imbuement. Yeah, ideally to get the poison ticking more, you want that on your crossbow and then blade dance around a ring. But corruption on here gives you that 40%, and then on the pants I run might. Probably could have run something different, but you know it's what I had. You don't really take damage when you're doing a no hit run, but it helps with those little hits she does in the first phase. I think I popped a potion. I don't even remember. It goes by so fast, and then I run noxious ice because they're chilled more, and that increases your crowd control when they're frozen. If you don't get the first phase perfect and the ad spawn, she'll summon them, and like if you poison them at all and walk away, they freeze like instantly. Like that's how good this is with Penitent Grease and Poison. This is so good. Damage to enemies that are poison, a reduction, damage reduction, total armor, and then I have poison damage. Better one would be health or damage reduction from close. And then on here I have damage reduction from close to kind of armor damage reduction, and then damage reduction from enemies that are poisoned. I think these are really good. Again, my health is lower than I'd like it to be, but that's why I run the rubies. And to be clear, this is only for Lilith. Like, you don't run this in like tier 50 and up. Like, it's just not good. You get popped really easily. And then on the head, I have Mangler for the days. Again, some of these are max roll. This is a max roll. This is a max roll. This is not. This is not a max roll. It's really close, but it's what I had. And cooldown reduction and ranks to poison imbuement are the most important things. Maximum life, important. And I specifically picked this one for intelligence for the Paragon board, and I'll go over that. But on your necklace, accelerating, this is mandatory. If you can get a higher roll than I did, even better. You want ranks to imbuement. I did energy cost reduction because you should really struggle with energy when you're spamming Twisting Blade like that. Trap skill damage is not the best option, and then ranks to exploit. I mean, this is just what I had, and it worked pretty well. Bursting Venoms, this is mandatory for like poison imbuement. Like, it is so good. I don't think I can not run this and run poison imbuement on anything, but what you want on your ring specifically is lucky hit, and I max rolled that. Damage to dazed enemies, they're always dazed, so you always give more damage to them. Crit strike chance, important, crit strike damage. So dazed, not necessary, but vulnerable damage would be good there instead. It'd be better there. And then I have damage to close, vulnerable, crit strike, and crit strike damage. The damage to close could be lucky hit if I had a better ring, but I don't. But bursting venoms, and then I run smiting. There's an aspect that gives you more damage to in unstoppable enemies. She's unstoppable the entire time until you stun her, and I was looking more for getting her down to get the no, like the full mechanic clear, like not one mechanic I have to deal with, just to burn her. So for that to be important, you need that first couple hits to gain more crowd control duration while she's stunned, and then once they're injured, like you burn through their last bit of health, because you'll crit more, and it'll make sure that this is up all the time from bursting venoms because it comes off of crits. This does not matter what what roll you get on it. It doesn't matter at all. You just use it for the pool. So that's the items. That's the stats on them. Weapon. This one's the only one that you can really do anything. Again, all stats. I'll go over that. Poison enemy damage. That's good. You can get other rolls. Crit strike damage would be better. Again, core skill damage important, and vulnerable damage. And this gives you none of that, but we only use it for the attack speed and lucky hit chance to proc this all the time. I think I went over everything. Specialization, combo points, 100%. I've seen people talk like the inner sight's good. If you're really struggling with energy and you're not trying to go for a full mechanic clear, you could use inner sight, but combo points 100%. If you look here, it's 120% bonus damage. Like, or 60%, I don't know. But enemies are dazed while impaired with twisting blades, and I'll go over that in the skills. That's the real important part. That's why her stun bar gets filled so fast. Like, this is useless in this entire fight, except for the fact that you do more crit strike chance against them. But the stun for 3 seconds, I literally only use this for making sure she gets staggered. That's what it is. Jesus. Staggered, and then this one, obviously poison damage, but it's for the staggered. That's it. It has a lucky hit chance, but I don't believe it works with. Yeah, this is only for poison imbued skills. This has a 125% lucky hit chance, but it's only a 10% chance. So I start every fight with this. That's bad, I think. I don't think you should use that, but we use Shadow Step. Dash, you saw, I used it to get away from stuff. If you don't do a perfect clear, dash is mandatory to get away from her waves that she does, the one-shot waves. And then at the end, she throws out a little shadow spikes. I have another video of me dying on that, because I've never seen that mechanic. I always kill her here, because I stagger her when she comes back to the platform, and I messed that up. And that's why I was like, oh, I don't think I did it, and I did it. I don't know why, but and then twisting blades and puncture, it's pretty standard on every twisting blades. Actually, like any build, I'm pretty sure they still use puncture for the most part. But let's get into the skill tree. So I use Shadow Step, Enhanced Shadow Step, Methodical Shadow Step. That's the CC we need. Weapon Mastery is mandatory. If you can get your necklace to get that instead of exploit, even better. But Weapon Mastery 3, Dash. In regular builds for dungeons, I believe you take this, but for this, we only use it as utility, and I don't have to swap skills or items. Aggressive 1, 3 into trick attacks, 1 poison trap, and then 1 in enhanced poison trap. This is... Yeah, I probably should take this in the future. Like, take a point out somewhere, and that looks pretty good. I don't know. I'd have to play around with it, but this works. Exploit 3, or I put 1 point into exploit, and then I get the bonus. And then 9% vuln. Malice is great. That would also be a good one if you can't get Weapon Mastery, Malice. I'd say Weapon Mastery, then Malice, and then Exploit is fine. But the Poison Imbuement, mandatory. You want 12 out of 5 on Poison Imbuement, and then we go Enhanced Poison Imbuement and Blended. And then if you're running Poison in dungeons, this is what you want, and this is also good to put a point in, but yeah, we want poisoning damage increase, because I don't remember what the ticks were doing, but it's really important. We do 1 into Frigid Finesse, and that's, I think, where I could put the point in one of these, but 5% increased damage to Chilled. I probably should put it in this, honestly, because I'm getting the reset off the lucky hit. This would probably be better. Anyway, all these maxed. Innervation, that's how I'm gaining energy, along with the gloves. Poison, lucky hit, need 100 energy, grants you lucky hit chance. So you're spamming this. I mean, this is how you really daze her and get her stagger bar filled. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so you're spending energy like crazy. I mean, it costs 23, so every almost 4, so 5 you spend, it's happening. And then when Poison Trap or Death Trap activates, you get 12% increased critical strike against vulnerable and crowd control enemies, which they are always crowd controlled. So you get that 12% chance. So when I show you my stats, you're gonna go, that looks low for how much you were critting, but I mean, you're attacking so fast. Close quarter combat, mandatory. Dungeons, higher tier dungeons, momentum, I think is mandatory. This sucks. I don't do ranged, and this is only for Death Trap. I don't use this for this right now. I mean, I don't know. I haven't played with it in dungeons, but let's get to the Paragon board. Notice, I've spent so much gold trying to do this perfect run. I've killed her, like, clearly, but yeah, I've spent so much gold, dude. I logged on with 5 million, so just I put the effort in for this. Anyway, we'll start here. I'm only gonna do the major nodes and the glyph. So the glyph is closer. Important. Get as many decks as you can in this. This is gonna be the most major one, not all of them. And then you get this one for the damage and health, and then 10% more damage, right? 200 armor, 10 dex, 10% cutthroat skill damage. 20% more damage, 10 dex, cutthroat skill damage. And this is why I run those all stats, and the intelligence on the helm is right here. It's for these rare nodes. For anyone who doesn't think about that or do your own Paragon boards. And then this glyph is Bane. That's the 10% chance to deal double the amount of damage over the duration. That's why you see ticks. In that one video I posted, it was like 14 million was the highest. Yeah, that's what you want. And then Cunning, damage reduction, trap. I mean, for this only, no, but that's what I have. Damage to enemies in trap. That's important. On to and this is Deadly Ambush. On the next one, I'll start off with what it is. It's Eldritch Bounty, and that's mandatory. So we go up to get that. You don't need that. This is Tracker. My tracker's not maxed out. The first 2 were. This is not. It could be better, but it's 15, and that's the best I could do without wanting to die grinding this game. We did this to get that, and it's a benefit, I guess. Yeah, I don't need to say more, but that's mandatory. And then we go over here, and we have Turf. This is maxed out as 21, but Turf, Lawless, Finisher, core skill damage, of course. damage reduction, I think, comes with those ones that give major damage boosts. And that is Cunning Stratagem. So this is a good one. Core skill damage and armor. And armor is so important. They messed up with the resistances, so you want to stack armor over resistances and damage reduction. So this one is Exploit Weakness. That's so good, dude. You're attacking so fast, you hit that maximum instantly. And this is Diminish. You can use Efficacy. That would be better. But Diminish, like, it does the same thing, but you get the imbuements. So this one was a higher level, so I went with this. This one is 15. This one's a little more. I was looking at which one gives me the better bonus. This gives me more vulnerable damage. So you can see this is 39%. So I'm getting an extra vulnerable damage and dex from this, and its normal isn't, just 95% boost. So I'm getting 19% more dex, or 90% vuln and 9 dex. It can be higher. It's negligible, but it can be higher. And of course you take Artifice, but Hunter Killer, 32% damage to elites against her. I think she counts as an elite. And then so you notice here the dex requirement and then the strength requirement. This is where the all stats come in, because this is the second to last board. When you get to the last board, it's really hard to meet those. So somewhere you can maybe tune it to be perfect, but max life, I didn't really think it was 100% necessary for me to get. I mean, that's 40 more strength, whereas this one, 478 intelligence, 10% more damage. Yeah, that'd be nice. And this is No Witnesses with Exploit, which you can tell it's important. Yeah, so that's the Paragon board, and again, you run this potion. It's not like super expensive to make. You can start making them at 95. I only use potions for this, and if I'm really struggling in a nightmare dungeon, there's no other reason to use potions other than leveling. So save your potions for your alts. But yeah, that's the build. I've tried it with Inner Sight. The first time I killed her, I had Inner Sight instead of Smiting Circle, or Smiting. Sorry, that works as well. I've done it with, instead of Might, I had like Shared Misery for when I wasn't able to skip that first phase, just to like spread it real fast. Disobedience instead of Might. Yeah, so I've done different stuff. Noxious Ice was a new one for me. That's a new one, but 25% additional poison damage to frozen enemies. I don't really know if it makes a difference, honestly, but it felt like it did. So yeah, and then you guys can do this hopefully and get your little Lilith's Doom or whatever it is. The two. I like Florist, but yeah. Thank you guys so much.